This absolute Caldari unit saw dominance during the early 2010s. It boasted a monstrous shield tank, flexible DPS, and was a Nubro favourite due to its low skill cap and ability to easily run level 3 missions. It was even used in a large number of nullsec and lowsec fleet comps, until it saw nerfs a few years later. These nerfs, however, inadvertently caused one of EVE's most infamous memes to be born, as well as the question that to this day, every FC dreads to hear. My name is Juds, and I'm here to ask, can I bring a Drake? Today, we're putting the Drake through its paces and putting it into different scenarios that perhaps a Drake shouldn't be in. We'll be running missions, exploring nullsec, gate camping, mining, and even taking part in some small gang PvP. We'll update our tier list as we work through each category. Now this is EVE done casual, so this isn't going to be entirely scientific. The fit will change for each scenario, and I have to be honest, I don't actually know how to fit a Drake in most normal scenarios anyway. So to kick off, we're going to be visiting nullsec to run some relic and data sites. To start my epic journey into the depths of space, my Drake was fit with the following. Of course, we have the standard Tech 2 probe scanner and Tech 2 cloak, in addition to some scanning rigs to help me scan down the sites. And of course, we can't forget the rapid light missile launchers, because I only plan on engaging frigates. I bought a handful of filaments, insured the ship, for obvious reasons, and set out to nullsec with a smile on my face. Weirdly enough, I actually did really well. I almost immediately started finding data and relic sites and had absolutely no trouble scanning them down. I was fortunate enough to avoid any and all conflict. Didn't see a single person. Whilst the ship was slow, it didn't really cause me too many problems. I set my course back to Jita to see how much I could collect on my route home, and I was surprised to find that when I docked up, I'd actually almost made back what I spent on the ship. Now, this is great, but I had spent my hard-earned ISK on the insurance, and I can't let that go to waste. So back out I went again for a second round of exploration into the unknown. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite as fortunate this time. A couple of flycatchers stopped me from having fun. Maybe if I fit a shield booster, this could have been a different outcome. I have to say, the Drake completely outperformed my expectations. If I had to do this again, I'd remove the cargo scanner and scan range finding array in exchange for some tank, and maybe make it a little more aggressive. I think exploration is going to be rated a C. Could have been better, could have been worse. Let's move on and take a look at the category that I know you are all most interested in seeing.
Mining.
We're going to start by fitting some Miner 2s and... oh. What? Right, so it turns out we can't fit the Drake with Miner 2s as it doesn't have turret hardpoints. Now, I know this one is my fault for not knowing that a Drake is unable to fit miners, but I guess mining will be going into the E tier. Not a great start for the Drake, or for my knowledge of EVE. Maybe it'll do better at running missions. I know what you're thinking, this isn't really all that exciting. We all know Drakes can run missions. And you're not wrong. My plan was to spend an hour running level 1 missions, then level 2 missions, and so on, right up to level 5 missions. I then, however, realised that this means I need to sacrifice 5 hours of my day running missions. And I don't know if you've ever tried to run a level 1 mission for an hour in a Drake before, but honestly, I would rather shit in my hands and clap than do it again. So I did some level 3 missions, which, whilst incredibly slow, was very comfortable. I used a passive shield tank fit, and it worked quite nicely. The whole purpose of this segment was to show how the Drake would do in level 4s, and then compare the ISK per hour to a battleship. But unfortunately, the Drake was so slow at running these missions that I gave up. I'm going to put the Drake in the B tier, as it was definitely easy to do these missions, and the fit is fairly simple for beginners. For level 4 missions though, it's going into the D tier, as this took way too much effort for very little payoff. Next is where the fun began. I changed the fit out for PvP, and began to head out to the faction warfare systems. My original plan was to do some solo PvP in the Drake, but just as I was about to set out, my dear friend Lewis spotted my dead exploration fit Drake on Zkill, and asked, "What the f*** is that?" I replied, "I'm making a video about all the things that a Drake probably shouldn't do. I'm about to go PvP with a rapid light fit Drake in lowsec. Do you want to join me?" Lewis replied, saying, "What a stupid idea. I'm in." And we set out to lowsec to see what we could find. We intentionally fit rapid light missile launchers, as the majority of fights around faction warfare space tend to involve frigates and destroyers. Who would possibly want to fight a couple of Drakes and frigates, you might be thinking? Well, it turns out we got lucky. Shortly after, a suspicious looking Astero arrived on grid and stalked us for a while. We were then swarmed by a fleet of frigates. We actually managed to hold our own for a good while, even though our ships were largely fit with leftover things we found in our Jita item hangar. Just as it was looking like we had won, and the frigate started warping off, in came a Myrmidon, and this pretty much signed our death certificate. I have to say, this was a lot of fun, and I even came out kill ball green, landing 4 kills for a combined total of 130 mil. Placing this onto the tier list is really difficult, as I really did have a lot of fun flying the Drake, but I think it's because I knew the ship wasn't really designed for this style of play. I think I'll put it into the B category for now, as I was able to come out kill ball green, and I had a lot of fun in the process. The final scenario that I wanted to test the Drake in was gate camping. I spent what felt like hours sat on different nullsec gates, desperately trying to catch something, and when I finally did, it wasn't exactly something I wanted to catch. Yup, I got dropped. I brushed myself off, bought another Drake, and tried again, this time stalking low set gates instead of null. Once again, it felt like hours went by, and just as I had had enough and was about to give up and go home, I caught myself a Vexor. The Vexor died fairly fast, but this was largely because it wasn't a fancy fit, with most modules being Tech 1. I think I'm going to put the gate camping Drake into the D category. I managed to get a kill, but it was far from pretty, and it was far from fun. This was a fun little experiment, and it gave me an excuse to try some things that I wouldn't normally do. The Drake certainly has the potential to be a great ship when used properly, but for everything I tried today, I can't say I rate it too highly. My answer to today's question is no, you can't bring a Drake.
No, God!
Let me know if you would like to see a part 2. I'm sure there's plenty of other situations that we can put our darling Drake into. Thanks for watching, remember to subscribe or I'll roll your wormhole.